That's Hunter.
Yeah. Mr. Angry Man is back. I'm back. That's right. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Nah. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Listen. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. United we fall, divided we rise. That's all they ever see when they look in our eyes. I ain't the least bit surprised, and I don't even ask why. I study, looking for love, and all we get is despise. They prophet lying, what? Meaning they falsely prophesying, talking about we really living, but we steadily dying. Tired of mothers crying, damn, and fathers silently raging. There's gotta be a way to escape this situation now. Yup. Come on. Verse 2. We search for brighter days to escape the maladies, giving homage to the folks that passed away. I speak life with the words I say, and that's the weapon I use to keep the evil at bay. I don't play when it comes to mine. My rhymes speak of a revolution this time. It's by design, and I'ma drop these deposits. So if you scared, take your ass to the closet. Why? Let me tell you this. Let's go. I got one more verse for you. Hit them off with that verse. Listen to me now. Verse 3. I drop gems, representing lugs and Timbs with backpacks. I got props like Black Moon, they want effect like Daz. I'm going mic like Nas. I'm the southern playalistic cat that beat them odds. I'm coming out hard. We coming out hard. Yes, sir. Y'all didn't know that I can rock like that. Ha. One time for your mind. Representing for the deuce. That's right. Put it down for the deuce tray. Let's go. Mr. Angry Man. Haha. Peace. Yo, what is up? What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome. And welcome. You got to tune into Trailblazers Radio. More importantly, you got to tune into the Authors Out of the Show, where we talk about everything literary, which means authors, the hottest books, and everything else that goes in between of that. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty. Thank you so very much for tuning in. You guys could have been anywhere else tonight, but you guys are right here, and you're right here rocking with us. And I appreciate that, and we all appreciate that. So thank you so very much for that. I am so excited tonight for the guests that I have tonight, and also for what we're going to talk about tonight. And also just as a little bit of a surprise that we have, that me and my guests have in store for you guys. Like, just to kind of, we're going to let you guys know a couple of things. But before we jump into that, man, just we'll throw an announcement or two out here really quickly, man. So first of all, we are on the road to 100 subscribers here on YouTube. So do be a big old favor and go to our YouTube channel, which is Trailblazers Radio. That's with a Z, y'all. And go check out our channel, man. Check out a couple of videos and episodes of our shows, whether it's My Life Has Destiny, whether it's Critical Conversations, whether it's Girl Chat Tuesday, or whether it's the check-in, whatever. Check out some of those shows. And if the content resonates with you, do me another favor and subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we go on and we come up and go on the air. Most definitely want to thank our listeners and our viewers. You guys are the reason why we do this, man. That does not go unnoticed. And we thank you guys so very much for that. Please make sure that you're following us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. And we also have a website, www.trailblazersradio.net. Go check out that website. We got some great stuff there too as well. Just make sure you check us out on all our platforms, man. And I most definitely want to thank my host, Quint Jones, Coco Fenton. They're part of my My Life Has Destiny podcast. Latalia Harris Gooden, also known as LHG. She's rocking it on Critical Conversations and Girl Chat Tuesday. All three of these ladies are killing it right now, and I couldn't be prouder or more happy to have these ladies on along with me to for this journey, man. So I thank you ladies very much for being a part of this team and helping us push the needle forward. Um, I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. So without any further ado, man, let's just jump into this, man. So first of all, I'm gonna bring our guest of the evening up in just a moment or two. But this young lady needs no introduction. Um, First and foremost, she is an entrepreneur and she is also an author. She's also a contributing author to the book that I am a part of. Um, Called Raising Children Wasn't Easy, but it is worth it. She's a contributor author to that book, which is soon to be releasing, and we're gonna give you that. We're gonna give that information to you guys as this interview goes on. But ladies and gentlemen, introducing to some and reintroducing to others, Dr. Josephine L. Harris.
Hello.
Hello, hello, and hello. How are you?
I am blessed and fabulous.
Very good. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you for hanging out with us here on the Office Alley, man. We most definitely appreciate you coming here and just wanting to talk about your writing journey, but also talk about your contribution to the anthology that you and I are part of. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. I really am solely grateful.
I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative. So let's get right into it. So you're right. So where did this love of writing come from, or where did it manifest from?
Oh wow. When I was coming up, I didn't like to write at all. I hated writing. I hated reading. I despise it. But when I became older and I realized the more you read, the more words you recognize, the more you be familiar with different vocabulary, different terms of words. So as I was becoming familiar with these words, and I like, you know what, this, and then I read a book, and I love reading romantic book. So I started reading, and the more I read, the more I become familiar with different vocabulary, different words. And then I started writing. And my first writing was a journal.
Ah,
I had a journal when I write out my feelings and stuff like that. So that was my first writing I experienced.
wow. So you wrote, so I think you started a journal. Um, was that kind of like a free form thing, or just dear diary, dear journal, this day? I mean, because I have a journal. I have a journal myself too. So and I still journal. So that's not a thing. That's for me. This is something that's therapeutic. That wasn't something that was therapeutic for you as a kid, or was it just kind of chronicling your day's events?
My well, as a kid, it was therapeutic for me. I'm the middle child on my mom's side, and I'm the youngest on my dad's side. So I have a huge family. On my mom's side, it's seven of us. On my dad's side, it's five of us. So I have a family, and our house was so chaotic that it was very difficult for you to express yourself even through me coming growing up because I was the middle child. So the middle child just ease on in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we as the back burner. So I was writing in my journal, and I didn't write by days. I write by how I felt during the day. I might have felt like writing in the morning. I might have felt like writing in the evening. I might have felt like writing in the afternoon. So it depends on what type of day I had.
So you write as how your day went, depending on the day, what type of day you had. I can dig that, because sometimes if you have a horrible day, you want to write about it.
Yes. And sometimes I had a good day. I wrote about that. I didn't always write about terrible days. I also wrote about good days because sometimes when I have bad days, I can go back and look at the good days I had.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Because I think we all can attest that the good days outweigh the bad.
Yes.
So you started your writing journey in journaling. Did that ever kind of translate into something other than just journaling?
It did. It translated in me writing, developing me a blog. So I have a blog called Healthy Minds and Hearts. So it I talks about mental health and my journey that I went through and how I overcame certain obstacles in my life, as well as a military spouse. So with that overcome, I developed different revenue of journaling through, and I turned the journal into a blog.
Ooh. Now, I gotta ask you, how is that? How was that journey? How was that journey going coming for you?
Oh my goodness, it's a journey and experience. Sometimes it can be the most difficult thing because sometimes you're putting all your feelings into a blog that everybody reads. And you want to be transparent because most people love when you being truthful person to yourself, authenticity to yourself, and being transparent. And people really gear towards being transparent people. So I'm very transparent with openness and all that. And the more I write in my blog, the more how I feel and relax and peace.
Oh wow! And then you mentioned that you're a military spouse. That I'm pretty sure there you have a lot of stories as that can attest to that.
I do. Actually, I'm getting ready. I'm putting the friendship touch on my book. That's really getting ready to come out. Is beginning my journey of being a military spouse and how I had to change my mindset in order for me to grow.
Ooh, yes, because I will say this: the life of a spouse of the military is not an easy journey, right? Not an easy journey. That
Not
not
at
e-
all. Not at all.
not at all, because my I can tell you my mom was my dad served in the army during the Vietnam War. Well, this is before, like this is like maybe a little bit after me and my brother were born. So that was like a harrowing journey for her. But then also I have friends uh, who are spouses or who know people who are spouses in the military, and that it's the stories are different, but they all kind of hang along the same premies. You know, the re the uprooting and locating something, that's always the hardest part, especially when we have friends, when you develop friendships and relationships in the city or the country that you're in. That uprooting and then replanting, yeah, I know that's a difficult ordeal.
And it is a difficult idea. Sometimes I think that one of the most things that I came across is trying to connect with people, and sometimes it's hard to connect with people. Sometimes you don't want to connect with people because guess what, in the next 3 years you leaving, so you don't really
Right.
get close to that person because you're like, I'm leaving in 3 more years anyways.
Exactly. Why I gotta connect with these folks?
Yeah.
I don't owe them nothing. But and I get that. I mean, me being former military myself, I understand what that meant. I wasn't married at the time, but I understood the uprooting and then replanting it. It gets a little, it gets a little, I won't say bad, but it was something that I wasn't used to as a person who was born and raised in one state. It just could travel all over that one state, and then all of a sudden now you gotta uproot and then replant again. Like, what? Hold on, wait, I was after you be there for 3 years. Wait a minute, I was just getting comfortable and getting my flow in this state. Now I gotta leave. Come on, man. So I know that's always a harrowing. I won't say a harrowing experience, but an experience because the minute your husband get those marching orders, like, well, we going to Texas or we going someplace else. Oh man, we got to do
Yeah.
this again.
And it's more of a difficult for children as well because we have children.
Ooh,
We have 7 children together. We could, and as well, think about it as a blended family. So we're a blended family. So when you have all these different personalities
oof,
with these children, and you uprooting it, some adjust, some won't adjust. And it's most difficult, especially with the youngest one, especially with the oldest one. And those are the two most difficult, I would call them our challenging children, the youngest and the oldest, because they the most ones that the oldest experience a lot and the youngest experience less, and the youngest have a hard time adjusting.
right. Especially with the younger children, especially if they develop friendships
Yeah.
with like really good friendships and deep friendships with other kids. So even the oldest kids. I mean, I think that affects kids all around, you know, from youngest to oldest, because all these kids have to develop friendships with. with other children, and all of a sudden now these friendships have to end. They're cut short, and then there's really no way to, yeah, that I know for children that's really really difficult because you you're losing your now you it's almost like you go to one place, you gain friends, and then you have to move, and then you lose those friends, and then you're back to the gaining friends again. You're back to the odd person out again in another school, another introduction. Hi, I'm such and such, and then you gaining friends, and then all of a sudden 2 or 3 years later you're gone again, and I think that do you think that made your kids socially do you think that makes your kids socially awkward?
You know what? The funny thing is, it could at sometimes. It all depends on the personality. My boys is very laid back. My girls is outgoing, and they have really different personalities. So it all depends. Some of my kids will be social whether they move to another environment or not. Now the youngest ones are not so sociable. They like to play, with these gadgets and technology. They like to be on the internet and they meet people through there. I like, no, you guys got, when we was coming up, we go outside. We had all that. We had to socialize, yelling
Hell
at
yeah.
the something.
Go outside.
Yeah, go outside, when they come in the house at a certain time. But now children do it through internet, social media, and FaceTime and Facebook and all these social media revenue. So it's all depends on how the children want to socialize. With me as a family, we social. I teach my children, although they coming up in state in ages where we have technology. So as a family, we go out as a family. We have dinner as a family. We talk as a family. We have family meetings. And now, since I'm an empty nester, all my kids are grown, but we still have that family time.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that because I'm a big proponent of bringing back the dinner table conversations. I'm a
Yeah.
big proponent of that. I would love to just have us as families bring back that dinner table conversation so we can all talk about, well, hey, how'd your day go? Um, what else happened? Let's sit down and talk about it. But like you said earlier, the age of technology has everybody in a chokehold right now.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to personally interact with each other. And I think for me, that's kind of like the thing. You know, of course, when the pandemic hit, everybody was inside.
Yes.
We socialized through various mediums such as the word you and I are using now. But then after things were lifted and things kind of got to a quote unquote point of normalcy, everybody's outside. But not everybody's outside.
Yeah.
And
And
and I
sometimes it can be socially awkward because now they're
and
trying
I
to
and I
put themselves back into society.
and I get that. I don't want to go outside. I've been inside for 2 years. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
Well, eventually you gonna have to come outside anyway. Don't you go outside, check your mail? Don't you take your trash out?
Okay.
I mean, you gotta come outside. I mean, you can't keep ordering Instacart all the time. That kind of adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Man, but hey, but I give it up. But I love the fact that you guys do that. Even though even now that you guys are empty nesters, I still like the fact that you guys still come together to do that. And I love that. So you got a book coming out, but you're also a contributing author on this book that you and I are a part of, this anthology that's a part that we're a part of. So
Yes.
how did Miss Sandra how did Miss Sandra bring you in? What about the concept of this anthology pulled you in?
Really, when I talked to her, we are friends and we've been on built projects before. But when she said raising children it wasn't easy, I like, oh my goodness, I need to be a part of this. And in my chapter, what brought me this is like, as blended family, most times people don't really talk about raising kids in a family as blended. They always talking about step this and step that, but we are blended and we doesn't really say, oh, this is my child, this is her child. We say this is our children or this is our child, because we don't really, in my family, we don't really split up. With me and my husband, children is our children. We don't separate them. We don't separate each other. Oh, this your child. No, we say our children. This is our children. And in this book, I talk about blended family is not so bad. That's the title of my chapter, and I go into how you can be at ease and how can you raise children in a more abnormal blended family. Think about it. Back in the days when God always had blended families in the Bible, right? So
Right.
God know that blended families is okay because they in the Bible.
Oh yeah. It, so, but you being you having a blended family, what's one of the pitfalls, or what was what I won't say pitfall because that sounds a little bit. This almost sounds like it's at a point of no return. What were the challenges that you had initially when you and your husband got together, and then you guys have these kids? You have your kids, and then he has his kids. How did it get to a point to where they're our kids?
One of the challenges thing is, think about this, like you coming into a family with both parents already was connected with the other parent, biological parents, whether it's male or female, they both biological mom, biological dad. So one of the things that I found difficult is really communicating with one another, even in your
Uh,
home and outside of the home. So the most important thing that we said, and we had the foundation in our home as me and my husband, and we both have our children from previous relationship. We had to set the foundation in our home, and that means we had to set boundaries with the children and with the other parents. So setting boundaries is the most important thing in blended family, because sometimes those other parents really try and cross those boundaries.
oh, they will try it.
Yes.
They will try it. Hard line in the sand. Don't cross this line.
And
Don't.
that's a lesson that me and my husband had to learn, because with me I have boys and girls, and with him he only had girls. So it was a different dynamic of raising boys
Ooh.
than raising girls, because my husband was not, he was not used to raising boys. He was raising girls. So we as parents had to really sit down and talk about the dynamic between girls and boys. We had to set the foundation before we even discuss it with the children.
Right. And I think sometimes I won't even say sometimes that's very important to set those boundaries with you and your spouse. Okay, this is what we're gonna do as it pertains to our kids. These are the boundaries that we're gonna have in place, and this is what we're gonna stick by. This is what we're gonna abide by. There ain't gonna be no deviations or anything from that. Now, I know there are times where you have to kind of jump off the path and say and kind of make a command decision, which I think any type of thing that you have anything that you or your spouse talk about, there has to be like some things in place for that to kind of somebody make a command decision when the other person isn't around or isn't available to kind of pitch in on the decisions. I'll say, what was it in the instances to where you and your husband were raising your kids, raising your children. Were there any command decisions that you made that you thought maybe could have been in conflict with what the boundaries that you set?
Oh my goodness. You know that you talked that and you discussed, that's a good question. And we came up with some, because my husband was deployed a lot. So as a military, he was deployed. He's army, so he never been home a whole year.
Wow.
So I had to make some of the sound decision, and because he was deployed, then I made sure that I kept in the loop. Whether it's me writing him, whether it's me emailing him, whether it's me sending him a letter. So I had to make very hard decisions. And when we came upon that before, like I said, we had to set boundaries. We had to discuss when it's time for me to step in and when it's time for him to step in, and what command decision that we're going to make when he's gone, and what command decision when I'm going to make when I'm going. Because sometimes, and I travel a lot because of my work. And when I was getting my dissertation, then doing my intern and my practical, I had to leave and travel and leave the kids with him. So we had to really, like I said, set that foundation. You had to be you have to set limitations on what you can and what you will not do, even when the parents is gone and when the parent is home, but you still have to come together as a family with the same decision that you already agreed upon.
Right. And I think when you deviate from what you agreed upon, it causes chaos, it causes
Yes.
confusion, and the kids are looking at you guys like, are they even in concert? Are they even in unison right now? I mean, one parent telling me to do this, another parent telling me to do that. What's the actual thing I gotta do? Is it what they both want me to do, or is it something that's a, a mix of both? And I know with me having, I had both of my parents in the home with me. Uh, I was it was for them, it was all they I for my parents, it was always, you know, with what if my dad said to do if my dad said to do something, my mom backed him up. And if my mom told me to do something, my dad backed her up. I'm like, 2 or 1. That's not a good outcome for me, especially, I mean, you have to have that type of agreement in place. I won't even call it an agreement. You have to have that type of understanding in place. If I'm the parent and I'm telling our son to do this or our daughter to do this, the expectation is for you to have my back. Now, there are times where, and I've seen this in my own family dynamic. I mean, I was married at one point, and I've seen it in my own family marriage dynamic where I said something that was told one of the kids to do something, and it was like, and my ex-wife would look at me like, really? Come here, let me talk to you. Was it ever a point like that with you and your husband to where you made a decision, you made a choice, or you told a child to do something, and you or your spouse said, "Come here, let me talk to you."
No, because you know what, with me and my husband, we are very communicative person. We love communicate. He communicate well, and I communicate well. And with that, and with a blended family, children do play on each other as the other parent.
Oh yes.
So
Oh God.
when I say something and they go ask him, he'll say, "Well, what did your mother say?"
But
And when they ask me, and when they ask him something, when they ask me something and go ask him the same thing, and I say, "Well, what did your father say?" So we are really know, we really know, we vibe with each other's spirit, each other's soul, each other. Like we'll say, "Okay, what did your mom say, or what did your father say?" We know that they try and play us against each other, but we always make sure that we are on the same page.
oh
And
yes.
if we see different if we see different opportunities, we don't discuss it in front of the children. We're like, you know what, okay, we'll let it go, and we'll say, you know what, and then we take it in another room and we discuss it, and we'll talk about, well, that's not what we talked about the first time, so what do you
Right.
think about this? So we have been blessed with very open communication.
Important. Very much important. Because like you said, a child will play both sides if given the opportunity.
Yes, given the opportunity, we are.
Because I can play this against my father, I can play this against my mom. But when two parents are together, nah, you can't tip the scales in one or the other's favors. It's even all the way around here, buddy. And I love that time. I love that dynamic it it's not here. It's not imbalanced on either side. It's just even all the way around because both of you guys have agreed upon, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is the boundary that we set, and this is how this is going to operate. It is going to be a smooth, well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
I love that for you guys. I love that the way you guys are hell doing that. I mean, But you said you and Sandra have been have been friends for quite some time, and then and the allure of just the title of the book just pulled you in. Um, what's the most important thing that you think that just from looking at the title and then looking at your story, but then looking at it from the other aspect of like everybody else's story, what do you think that everybody's gonna be able to um get out of reading each one of these stories?
With all the stories that's in this book, it is some of the stories is very rewarding. It's dynamic. You get some tips on what was how your parenting skills were. Sometimes you can be a better parent. Sometimes you might say, "Oh my goodness, I didn't thought of that, but this is what is happening. I never knew that I would. This somebody else went through the same thing I went through." And sometimes it helps you to come from a different perspective from other people, getting the tips that you okay, this is what I should have did. What could I have done better? Or oh, I'm a good parent with what I had
Oh
or what
man,
I have.
that is important because I think a lot of people will take that and they'll there's so many. I think there's going to be so many nuggets that's going to be dropped in this book that a lot of people are going to be like, well, geez, just like you said, geez, I didn't know that. I didn't know somebody was going through the same thing I was going through. Maybe let me see if I can apply these tips and maybe I can apply it to how I parent my child and see if they work. I just to kind of be a slightly transparent without throwing my whole chapter out there. I wrote about you know raising raising bonus kids. I have 4 kids of my own, but none of my children live with me. Save my oldest son, but my ex-wife and her 3 kids was there all the time. So I put
Mhm.
out tips and tricks about how to do that because I think that whether it's and I don't the funny thing about I don't like using the word step parent.
I'm with you with that.
I don't like using the word step parent. It has how I want to put this has a negative connotation behind it.
Hmm.
Has a it almost sounds tabooish almost. It just sounds like well you're just the parent that's stepping in because the other parent isn't around or couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
No, I'm a parent just like the other parent. Is just I'm just here at the I'm here in the moment. To be called a step parent. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard that was when I was married.
Mm.
Step parent, stepfather. What? Oh, huh? And I was confused, like who would where? And then all of a sudden I had realized, oh, it's me. I'm the stepfather.
Hmm.
And for as long as I can, for as long as I can, I want to say remember, as long as I've been a parent, that word step parent just it rubs me the wrong way. It doesn't sound correct. It doesn't sound right. I mean, and then I hear a lot of people use it. I'm like, why that person's not a step? That person's not a step parent. He's he's the parent at the time. He's the parent at that time. But I think I guess that's just my opinion. I don't like that word. It sounds ugly. It's a it's it usually it gets a bad rap. It gets a really bad rap sometimes, especially when it comes to certain things, because they always say, "Well, you're not the biological parent, so you don't have the same rights as the actual parent." Well, I'm the person that's in the house at the moment.
Yes, yes. And I feel the same way. In our household, we don't use that, but we don't use step and we don't use stepchild, step mom, step dad. with my children, they call him, and my children was a little bit older, and his girls was a little bit older. They call me Mama Josie, or they call him Daddy Keith, or they say, "Well, that's my bonus daddy," or we have bonus. I have my bonus mom with me. We never say like, "That's my stepmom," and "That's my stepchild." So it's like we say to our children,
Yep.
is you have to think about the traditional, as we say, the traditional,
Yeah.
where it comes from, and where step come from, and where step this come from. But that's the traditional world.
Well, see, but the way I look at it is like the love of that child, or the love that child receives from that bonus parent, or the love that that bonus parent receives from that child is no, it's
No different.
I think it's the same type of love actually. I would, at least I would think so. I would think the same type of love that you have for me as your bonus father would be the same type of love you have for your father. If not, and I would, and my thing is this: I would expect you to have more love for your father than you actually would for me, because your father was the one that brought you here, that was the contributing factor that brought you. He brought you here. So I'm the me per I would I'm not offended. I would never be offended if you gave your father more deference than me. It's because he brought you here. So I'm cool with that. But I think a lot of parents who come into those roles kind of look at it, misinterpret it, and think
Yeah.
that, well, I'm the parent. I'm the parent that's here. Like, of course you're the parent that's there at the time, but they have a mother or a father, so please give deference, because that child had a father before you. That child had a father or mother before you came into the situation. So give that deference, or give that, that buffer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, it's, I find that crazy. Now, and like you said earlier, the other year you guys have, or a blended family, and these are children from different prior relationships, and the other parents, oof, yeah, like you said, they try to hop over those lines, those gates. And
Yeah.
was it difficult, or was it easy to establish those boundaries with the other parents? I'm pretty sure there were challenges along the way, but was it real? I guess what I'm asking is, as a whole, like the totality of the whole experience with that. Was it easy, or was it difficult to kind of establish those boundaries with the other parents?
With it all depends, and you have to think about it. My husband, now my husband, he's was in the military, so with my children, we have to get permission for them to travel.
Ah,
So it was, at first it was kind of difficult. It was difficult. We had to go to court with all this revenue with my kids' father, and the relationship, because we had to get permission for my children to travel with us. And although the boys was younger, the girls was older. So the girls didn't I didn't have to get permission for the girls, because the girls could have signed off on their own. When you were 13 and older, you can sign off on their own. But with the boys, I had to get permission
because they were younger.
because they were younger.
Whew.
So that was the difficult part. We had to go through courts and all this, because he wouldn't sign, and he wouldn't sign the passports.
Of
So
course, of course, there has to be a couple of wrinkles in that.
yeah, but with my husband, past relationship, he had the most difficult relationship. He really had to set boundaries with her, because she was one of the bitter persons. So he really had to set those boundaries with her. And I didn't really step in. I let him handle that situation.
Oh, I see. You allow him to establish those boundaries and draw those hard lines in the sand. I'll tell you, man, that's crazy. You know what? I don't know if I could do well. Yeah, I can. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I thought we were struggle streaming for a minute. That wasn't gonna be cool. I like the simple fact that you allowed your husband to draw those lines in the sand, and that you told him that nope, you gonna do this, and then you allowed him to do it, and it turned out the way it was supposed to turn out.
Yes, it was because if it would have went a different direction, then I would have stepped in. But he handled it pretty well. He dealt with that situation pretty well, and he dealt with it well. It was after he dealt with it, after they talked, after they set boundaries, and he set boundaries, and we talked about the boundaries. It never happened again. So setting those boundaries, even though it sometimes it's must the most difficult situation or these most difficult conversation to have, you have to have those difficult conversations because if not, then your whole household is in chaos.
No one wants to live in a chaotic household.
No,
No one wants to live in a household full of dysfunction either.
not at all. Because now you come, now you tapping into your own peace, and your home should be the peace.
Man, look where I come and lay my head at. That's where I want to be peaceful at.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that because like I said, you guys put a game plan together. You executed the plan, and it worked. And it worked out for your favor, for you guys' favor, and it worked out for the betterment of your children. And I love that. I really do love that. So the one question I do want to ask you, what besides the what impact do you think your story will have on those parents who are in those parents who have blended families?
I think my story really taps into how you it also well let me start off like this. My story I gives 8 different pointers of what should have been done, and if these are the pointers that I learned throughout throughout the blended family up until now, and my children and adult children, and all of them are very successful. So I set a lot of I give a lot of pointers, and I'm hoping that you can get from people and my audience can get from my story. It's like blended family is not so bad if you set limitations, boundaries, make sure that your peace is not disturbing your home. So it's helping them to grow as a blended family, knowing that okay, she went through this. Okay, what she did, she set those limitations, she set those boundaries. Okay, she and sometimes you have to treat every child not the same. And when I mean treat every child the same, according to their personalities. Because every child is not going to be the same.
Oh yeah, different personalities, different
Different
idiosyncrasies,
personalities.
different different quirks, different perspectives, all kind of stuff.
And when I mean treat every child the same, I mean don't show favoritism.
Oh, that will destroy I won't say destroy your family, but that'll set a family asunder with favoritism.
Yes. And my kids will always ask me, well, who your favorite? I say, all y'all my favorite.
I'm pretty sure you got frowns across the board with that too.
Tell my mama that's not true. I said, yes, it is. All y'all my favorites. I love all y'all in different ways. Y'all have different personalities. But I
Yeah,
spend time with each and every one of them by themselves, and we spend time as a group.
that's good. That's good. 'Cause I think you do have to spend time with your kids individually, so that way you get a feel for who they are individually, and that way you can see how they fit in the collective.
Yeah. Because you got to think about it. When you was raising them, their personality changed, and up until an adult now, their personalities change as well. So they constantly growing, they constantly learning different things. And guess what? They in a different world. They in a world environment with their other peers. So you have to really relearn them as adults.
Oh man, that was an adjustment for me. I don't to try to learn who my son was as an adult. From like, wait a minute, you weren't the okay. You're an adult. Let me make this adjustment.
Yes.
And I know you look at your kids like, well, you're still my baby. Your kids are mom, not a baby anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I call all of my babies.
And then they protest. I ain't your man. I'm not a baby no more.
And the thing is that when me and my husband first got married, we did start off with Rocky and all that because of the blended family. But now we are like really close, like this. So we really are really close, and I'm very open with them, and they're very open with me, and we all talks a lot.
Establishing trust.
Yeah. You have to establish that trust, especially with blended family. You really have to set that foundation, establish that trust with the children, because they coming into an unfamiliar environment. You coming into an unfamiliar environment.
Yep. There has to be a middle ground somewhere. Wow. I love that. You have to establish the trust with your kids, because with those kids, because for the time being, or for the time that you and your spouse are together, you guys are going to be connected. And
Mm-hmm.
if trust isn't established, well, I'm gonna say it's a done duck at that point. Because if you don't, because the trust isn't established, then how are the other things going to be accomplished? How are you, if you can't establish trust, and you get love, but it's not genuine love. You get honor and respect, but it's not genuine honor or respect. That they're only doing it because, they're only doing it because you're the adult.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that trust. This is I want to tell this to any parent, whether it's a bonus parent or a natural parent. Establish trust with your child, because even if you know this child from the first hair on their head to the last hair on their toes or whatnot, establish trust with your child. Remember, it is reciprocal. It goes both ways. If you learn to trust your child will learn to trust you, and that way that child will be able to open up to you and be more willing to talk to you about situations that bother them or that concern them. And it's the same with it. Say with for say, and it goes the opposite way. You
Mm.
know, as a that as you try you the child will trust you as a parent, and they're like, well, okay, this my mom or my dad is good enough for me to come to them with whatever I have going on, and I try they trust me to do that, and I trust them to listen without judgment, or without or not or not without judgment, or quick judgment, or snap judgment, and they listen to the facts of what I'm saying, and then make a decision or judgment from there. So just that's just a little bonus tip from myself and Dr. Jones. Trust goes a long way.
Yeah.
It goes a very, very long way, because it sets the groundwork for the relationship, and how that relationship progresses for the year in the days, weeks, moments and years to come, the months and years to come. So trust is important. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It
Yes, it
is.
is. And I do talk that one of my points in the book about
Trust.
the trust.
Trust is important, y'all. It is, and that's what, like I said, that's what Dr. Jones, one of her points, and I would, you know, amplify to say that that's one of the most important points. Trust. You know, I think one of the points I put in my story is, allow your children to be who they are. Don't
Yeah.
don't pigeonhole them into what you think they should be or what you want them to be. Allow them to be who they are. Let them search their own. Let them search for their own interest, their own what makes them happy, what brings them the utmost joy. When you pigeonhole a child, or better yet, when you pigeonhole a person, period, you put them in a box, and you put them in this box, which is established by what you, as a parent, would want them to be. Every child should not have to live out your father's or your mother's dream, their father or their mother's dream. I never want, as a kid, I never want to live out any dreams of my, never want to live out any dreams of my father, because that wasn't where I wanted to be. That wasn't what I wanted to do or be. I want to step out. Allow your children to experiment with certain things within boundaries, within
Yeah,
reasonable boundaries, of course.
clarify that.
Within reasonable boundaries, of course, and be very adamant about what have be adamant as to what they're experimenting with.
Yeah,
Be but allow your children to be who they are within boundaries, because you have to at some point or another. We as parents, and I think that Dr. Joe could attest to this. We as parents have to give our children some form of autonomy.
yeah,
We have to trust them to be able to go out, hang out with their friends, and trust that they're gonna come back when we tell them when we tell them to come back.
yeah. And that's the most important thing. One of the things I used to tell the children, like, you know, I used to always tell them every action has a consequence behind it, whether it's positive or negative. But you have to take responsibility for the action. And they say, "Well,
Ooh.
Mama, since you said it like that, I don't want to do it no more." I'm like, "Well." So they used to go. I let them. I don't really. I let them be themselves, and we have a really very strong background. And when they want to go out and hang out with friends and peer pressure out there, that's the only thing I give them a little talk. You remember, every action has a consequence behind it, whether it's positive or negative. It's up to you how you react to it. He told
Yep,
me, "Mama, I don't want to go hang out with my friend." I like, "Well."
exactly. Because they probably know how their friends are, and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want
So
to do that at all.
That's
And
that's the pep talk I used to give all of them every time they want to go out and hang out with their friends.
it's like,
Every time they want to do something, I always do, and I really install that into them as of adult now. I say you have to remember you an adult now. Every action come with the consequences, whether it's positive or negative. Is how you react to those.
bigger consequences,
Yeah.
larger consequences. So, and that's the one thing.
I
That's the
was
one thing
so
I still with my bonus kids. Look, think about what you doing before you do it, because if you do this and something bad comes from it, you got to pay for it.
yeah,
I'm not going. I'm not paying. I'm not paying for it. You got to pay for it. And the one thing what I think, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but it's something that I said to my bonus kids and my son before he passed. If you're in the right, if you're in the right, if you're in the right, I will back you up. I'll back you to the ends of the earth. If you're correct in and you're justified in what you did, I will back you up. But if you're wrong, I'm gonna pull you to account, and then I'm gonna tell you you have to pay for that.
accountability is important.
And
Accountability and responsibility is very important.
yep, I mean, and and they will always throw these scenarios at me like, you can't throw a scenario at me like that and expect me to make a judgment based on a scenario. I said you can't throw these hypo. I said, like I told you, to tell my oldest son, you can't throw hypotheticals at me, dude. I don't. We don't live in hypotheticals. You can't throw these scenarios at me and think and expect me to make a decision, expect me to say you're right or you're wrong based upon what you're telling me, based
Hmm.
upon the hypotheticalness of the situation. I said, and like I told him, dude, I live in reality. We live in reality.
Hmm.
So what happens in reality is you screw up, you pay for it. What happens in reality is if you're right, you're properly defended for it. I said,
Hmm.
that's the reality. That's the reality that I live in. You know, everybody else, these hypotheticals are. I said, we don't live we don't live in a hypothetical society. We live in a society where there are certain things that are established. Right and wrong are the things that are established.
Hmm.
What's right and what's wrong. Now, and like I told him, we can we can we can have a spirited discussion about what skirts right and what skirts wrong and all this other stuff. We can have a spirited discussion about that, but right, wrong, pick you pick a side, and pick a side. Now you don't you want to straddle the fence? That's cool, but you know you can't be on the side of well, you can't be here and here. You can't be right and wrong at the same. You can't be right and wrong at the same time, but you can't always sit in the middle. Either you're going to be right or you're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
I said there. I said you just the same thing you said. It just I just have a different variation of it. Either you, I said the choices you make, you're either going to reap a reward or you're going to suffer a consequence. You get you ain't you go you only got you only go pick you only go have a choice of one. So choose so whatever choice you make, choose wisely because either you're going to reap a reward or you go or it's going to be something else. It's going to be something bad. It's going to be something bad behind that.
Yeah.
I think and you might agree with me with this one too. I think that we don't give our children the stark reality of things, especially when they're younger or when they're teenagers. We don't give them the stark reality of things, or like the okay, this is and I've learned by not giving the stark reality to of certain things. You know, they pay for that, but I think God it wasn't as worse as bad as it could have been.
Mm.
And I think we as parents, we should give them this. We should give them the stark reality of things, the real reality of things.
You know, with me and my husband, and we are reality parents.
Mhm.
So we don't give them the sugar coated version of reality. We give them the extra reality. And you know, people like us, brown, black people like us, we experience things totally different in the world.
Right.
So we give them the ground. This is what you're going to experience, and this is how you should react. So don't react in a malicious way because this is how you're going to get treated, and that's reality.
Yep. And I had to I let them know that look, y'all are black and brown kid, y'all are black and brown boys and girls. Y'all know good well y'all gonna get treated differently. So when being treated differently means that you have to think and act differently.
Totally.
What are like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Don't be well. Number one, don't be so reactive. Just
Mm-hmm.
just observe and watch. Observe and just observe and observe some more. You as black and brown kids, you guys you guys are already up against the eight ball.
That's right. That's right. And we taught our children, especially the young men, our young men in our family is the reality is the reality, and this is what the reality is going to bring. Sometimes you want to get stopped just for being black, just riding
Yep.
through a neighborhood, and that's how you want to react. You're not going to react, do what they support, do what you are supposed to say. But sometimes you don't like what they say. You might not say put you might not like it, but you have to really do what they say in order for preventing other things from happening.
Yep. Ask yourself the question: do you want to go? Do you want to go home tonight?
Yeah.
You
And
know.
that's the reality we live in.
Yep. One of the things I've had to kind of put in my mind, especially with having a losing a kid, losing a child, but also you know understanding that I had at the time, but my bonus kids were very they want to be in every protest and every rally and look as much as y'all want to do that I can't with a good conscience allow y'all let y'all do that all the time because y'all know how these things get,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want y'all to be in the crossfire none of that. You know, be be hit with a non lethal with a bean bag bullet or get somebody throw tear gas canister out there, or all of a sudden it is some some of you a building gets burned down and then you a building gets burned down or looted and y'all are implicated in that, like, as much as I know that you guys want to do that and be vocal, yeah. And I had to be really stern with that. Like, nah, man. As much as I know y'all want to be out here on these streets and no justice, no peace. I get it. Y'all are you mad, you're angry. There are better ways for y'all to express that anger.
Mhm.
You both of you guys are musicians. Y'all write, y'all rap, y'all write. Put it in a song, record it, throw it out there on YouTube or something like that. That gains just as much traction.
Mhm.
So, and I guess I said that to say that, we as parents, we have to understand what how our kids are feeling, but also let them know that there are other ways to express specific emotions, I guess. Yeah, y'all angry, but right, put it, we yeah, look, y'all got recording equipment in here. Y'all got a recorder, y'all got a computer, y'all got a software. Record it. Y'all got a whole bunch of beats. Put that junk on, put that joint in the song. You can you can be as angry as you want in front of that microphone. You can break the microphone if you want to. Don't worry, I buy another one. It's not a problem, but it's not an issue. But it's and I guess that's me being a protective individual though. You
Mhm.
know, being a papa bear as I was called. You just a papa bear. I know. I'm, I'm not, I wasn't overly protective, but I just was really just wanted to not, I don't know, have them exposed to a lot of certain things. Not the stuff that I was exposed to, but unfortunately they were exposed to it, and you know,
Yeah.
thank God it came out. Thank God it went the way I prayed it. I prayed it to go not the way it could have went.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, thank you, Jesus, because that could have went
That's totally
sideways
different.
fast.
Yeah.
And so, couple of last two more questions before I let you go. Now, the one thing I do want to ask you, because we mentioned on it earlier, what is the importance of having God in the family unit? What is the importance of that? And I asked that because I know because I and the reason I asked that is because we're both Christians and things of that nature, but sometimes sometimes I think we overlook the importance of that in the family unit.
Wow. I can say, let me tell you, we have been so blessed. We have been so blessed as a family. Putting God first is very important, especially when you have a blended family, when you have chaotic, when you have going through this, going through that. We pray as a family. We read our Bible as a family. We go to Bible study as a family. We pray.
Right.
We do all these things, and when you come up, your mom always said, we pray for our kids, but you have to teach them how to pray for themselves.
Ooh, that I can't tell you how important that is. We listen, just listen, parents. We can pray for our kids, but we have to show them how to pray for them, how to pray for themselves. We have to show them that is to have an effective prayer life.
Yes, because we can't go to heaven for them.
Nope. Because when the time comes, they gonna be the ones standing in front of God, asking with God, looking at the chapter of their life, and they have to come before judgment. It ain't gonna be us that's gonna do it. When we pass and go, we've already been up there. We've already had judgment rendered to us.
Yeah, and kids mess up. Everybody mess up. Everybody have that. All you gotta do is just keep on repenting and forgiving and ask God for forgiveness, because we have no perfect life.
Nope, not at all. I know I wasn't perfect as a kid or as a parent. It is cool because I think that's it's important to look. I couldn't have said it no better than you did what you said. You have to have a life that's centered and grounded in Christ. How you and you have to pray. It doesn't have to be Lord Jesus. And It doesn't have to be nothing exuberant or
No,
anything of that nature. Just God, I thank you for just waking me up today and just giving me the opportunity to see another day. I thank you for the opportunities that's gonna be in front of me. I
that's
thank you
right.
for pushing me forward into my destiny, so that way other people can hear my voice and also go move forward in their own destiny. So
Yeah.
God, jeez, you teach them to be you. I one thing I taught to you look, y'all try to do all this. No, don't require all that.
Mm-mm.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
It don't require all the speaking in tongues. No conversation, dude. Like me, like you and I having, Miss Joe. Prayer's a conversation with God. All you do is conversate. You can talk in your own voice.
Yeah.
Nothing
'Cause
formal.
The,
Nothing
the,
formal about it.
the funny thing is, because I used to talk a lot and talk out to God, and my youngest one said, "Well, Mama, who you talking to?" I said, "I'm talking to God. You want to come talk with me?" He was like, "There's no one." I said, "There is someone here. This is God." So he got a riff of who I was talking to and how I was talking to God, and he was like, "Wow, well, if God give you all this, I want to talk to him too."
he caught a whiff of that. Like, oh, I want to talk to him too. Come on, what's up? What I gotta do? And that's a good introduction to bring a child in. I mean, if they saw you talking to God, like, and they were like, well, who are you talking to? Talking to God. Well, talk to him. I mean, well, how do you did some kids who are curious? Well, how do you talk to him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Just like you and I have a conversation.
Mhm.
Same thing. I have kids. I mean, is it really that easy? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not complicated. I whispered to one kid, "It's the adults that make it complicated."
It is. It could be the adults that make it complicated. It's just that you're having a conversation with them.
Yep, exactly. And I love that. I love the answer that you gave, because that's one of the things that's very very important.
Mhm.
Just it's the most important thing that besides the setting boundaries, besides the establishing boundaries and establishing certain things, that certain doctrines that will go on in the home. Prayer, having established a relationship with God and having a prayer life is important.
Yes. Very
So
important.
parents, make sure your kids have a prayer life. If they don't, show them how to have one.
Yeah.
It ain't difficult. It's not it ain't difficult. Matter of fact, it's super simple.
And it's not too late.
Nope. Nope. You can teach a 2-year-old to have a prayer life.
Hmm.
And and understand that when kids will emulate what their parents do.
They sure will.
They if they see you doing something, like if they see you going into your prayer closet, they will copy that behavior.
Yeah. They
Children
will.
copy children copy behaviors, whether they're good behaviors or whether they're bad behaviors.
They copy them. Because when we had my grandson over here, and me and my husband was praying, talking about, "Oh, Nana, Papa, I want to pray too." I like, "Well, come on down and get on your knees."
Come on over here. Come on and
And
join us there. Come on
the
and join us there,
prayer,
my friend.
Nana, can I pray for her? I said, "Sure." We started praying, but yeah,
You-
it's important.
teach a child up in the ways that they should learn.
Yeah.
I think what you and your husband have done or continuing to do is very, very, very honorable, very, very important. And I really do commend you guys for you know having that blended family, but also that understanding the challenges that go with it and the things that could happen, that could or could go right or could go wrong, but persevering through that and
Hmm.
making sure that it works. And it works. It works. It works in all four seasons.
Yes.
I most definitely commend you and your husband on that, because raising a blended family, raising children in a blended family is not easy, but it's so worth it. It is very much worth it. I can't. I've just listening to your story and just talking to you now. I feel like I think a lot of parents could learn could grab hold of that and
Mhm.
say, well, especially when you feel like you're at your last straw and you want to give up as a parent. Nah. That's not afforded to you.
Mm-mm. Just pick up this book and read it.
Exactly. Here, we got a book for you. We got a book for you. Here, read this. A lot of tips and tricks on here. Take a
Yeah.
gander at this. Pick a story. Pick a story. Anyone. Pretty sure the one you pick is gonna be the one that's gonna be relatable to you.
Mm-hmm.
So we be a Dr. Joga. We got a book for you. Go, grab it. You know, find a story in it. Like I said, any story that you pick is probably gonna be the one that's relatable to you.
Mm-hmm.
Find the lessons in it. Take notes. If you have a spouse, take it and read it with your spouse. I guarantee there's gonna be some insights in there that you guys will be able to
Yep.
grab from and grab hold to. You know, the one thing I will, we are every last one of us, from Dr. Joe to Miss Sandra and all the other contributing writers to this anthology. we took we we took our time, but we also poured out our heart to make sure to give you guys these tips and these tricks, because it's from our experiences that future parents or even current parents can grab hold to, and they can they can to learn from our experiences and say, hey, finally, like you said earlier, Dr. Joe, finally somebody that has lived through what I lived through,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's experienced what I experienced. Wow, what a breath of fresh air! What a refreshing thing that I could have, and I can take with me. Now I can apply these tips that I've learned and improve my parenting style or improve my parenting skills. So these stories come from our hearts, not only from our hearts but from our experiences. Some experiences are good experiences, some experiences are bad experiences, but at the same time, they are experiences that are going to help you. Hell, I, I mean, I would say this. I read my own story back. I'm like, ooh, I was surprised. I'm like, dang, I didn't know I had the capacity to write that. But then also, I didn't know that was my experience as
Mm-hmm.
a bonus parent. I just thought I just thought it was an honor and a privilege to just to be a bonus parent. I thought it was an honor and a privilege. Because I found out it was more than that. It was something that I derived great joy from. But I know I could talk all day. I know I could be long winded. I could talk all day. So, but now as we, the last question I want to ask you before I let you before I give you a plug, give you opportunity to plug yourself. Um, as I always talked about to the guests that come onto this show, man, I always talk about this thing called a marathon. And there's several stages of a marathon. The first stage is when you come out the gate, the beginning stage, the start, where you come out the gate and you're running and you're beginning to get your pace. And then there's a middle stage of that marathon to where you're going at your desired pace, and you're going strong. And then you have like the end of that marathon. You're still going at your same pace, but the finish line is right there, and it's within sight. Thinking about not only your contribution to this anthology, but also thinking about your experiences um, with raising kids in a blended family, and all the totality of your other experiences as a whole in your life's marathon. What stage do you see yourself at?
Oh, I see myself. Wow, really, I see myself at the end.
Really?
I see myself at the end. And the reason why I say that because when me and my husband first got together and we was friends at first and we began to enjoy each other and we began to explain his background, my background, we began to explain the different revenue of our personality of our children. So that was the beginning for us. So
Right.
we was going and really slow in understanding our background because when me and my husband first got together, we was dating first. Before he even met my children, it was like we was dating for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So, and before I met his children, we was dating for yeah, almost 2 years before even our children connect. So we was really taking it, going into there at the beginning stage, getting our families like, okay, we got to get to know each other first. Is this
Right.
the person that I want my children to be around? Is this the person that he want his children to be around?
Exactly.
So and it builds up from there. And we built a foundation and we built this and we took off like slowly and then we started building up rapidly and at the end of that journey they became adults.
Ah, now I see why you say that too. You're at the end because at the end after they've they graduated high school or they're
Yes,
gone and stuff. That's the journey. That's the end of that journey. But we all know that's not the end of the journey. That's the end of that particular part of that marathon.
yeah, that marathon because within the marathon in between we had so much challenges we had stopped. We had dropped
Right.
the baton. We had to pick it back up. We had dropped the baton again. We had to pick it back up because it's so many challenges in between that marathon, the beginning and the end of that marathon. And you have
Right.
to really in tune and bring God in between every revenue that you trying to navigate through that marathon so that
Right.
you and your family can flourish and be peaceful and you don't have all this chaotic within it. So that's why I say I'm literally at the end and we still building. I'm
There you
still
go.
getting to know my adult children.
Yep.
We
Because
still have that close connection.
right. Because just because they're adults now. Because and I get what you're saying. It's because it's different from knowing your children from them being kids and teenagers and adolescents
Yes.
to being adults. It's a whole different. Now you got to learn this person all over again.
All over again. So now we back at the beginning stage of the marathon because they're adults. So now we learning them and we learning our grandkids.
There you go. I love how you said that because raising kids is raising children is is a marathon, and you have to understand that this is not it's not a sprint.
No, it is
If you
totally
think if you think this is gonna be a sprint, you're gonna be tired. You're gonna be tired before you even get halfway. It's not a sprint. You gotta pace yourself because look,
it's very important. And when people ask us, well, how many kids you guys got? Like, we have 7 children and 10 grandkids. Like, wow, you
well,
guys
like
don't look like you have that many kids. I like, you know why? Because we as a family put God first. We never
yep.
let each other scratch each other out, and we are so blessed. So,
I
it,
think the moment
joy of
I
life.
think when you said you got 10 grandkids, I think they probably looked there. I know when you said 10, I'm like, what, huh?
Yes, we just had a new baby just came. Our daughter.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. A new boy. She has 3 girls, and this is her first boy she had. So we
Oh,
are excited. We have 10 grandkids.
congratulations. I mean, I mean, to have that, to be able to have that many grandchildren is, and then for that speaks a lot of, number one of just, you guys just instilling those type of values into your children, but at the same time, they're taking those values that you instill in there. They're running with them, and not only are they running with them, they're applying them, not only to their lives but also to their children's lives.
Yes.
Like I said, I commend you and your husband for the the thing that first of all, I commend you guys for overcoming the challenges that you guys faced when you guys set out to do this, and then you guys brought in over there breaking the barriers that are associated with it, and then on top of that, flourishing. And what I mean by flourishing, kid, your every kid is alive and safe, and then your kid those kids are flourishing, and now their children's now their children's children, your grandchildren are flourishing. So it's it's a commendable thing all the way around, man. I most definitely give props to you and your husband because that's the found that really you by you guys establishing the groundwork and the foundation. That's and then put by also putting God first. That's the reason why you got your families flourishing like they are. And I most definitely have to give you and your husband props for that, man. Well, well done, man. Well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So now I'm gonna give you this opportunity right now for you to plug yourself. Shameless plug, let everybody know who you are, where they can find your social media, and I think we'll both make the announcement on the book release. So you got it. Go ahead.
As you know, I am Dr. Josephine Harris. You guys can call me Dr. Joe on all social media, Josephine L. Harris. I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I also have a website called www.commonmindsllc.com. I also have a blog called Healthy Hearts in Mind as well. Follow me anytime. I am here. I am reachable, and I am thrilled to be on this show.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And because of that, we do have a special announcement that we're gonna throw out here right now while the time is right. So there's going to be a release party tomorrow. It's going to be a party tomorrow, y'all. So
Yes.
look, so make sure
Look
you guys tune
at
in.
this
To,
book.
yes, indeed. You guys look here. It's a release party tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in. I think it's 12 Central, 1 Eastern. It's a release party, y'all. The visionary Sandra Ruff Jackson was going to be there, as well as the contributing authors will be there. We're gonna display the book. We're gonna talk about each one of our stories, why we felt the story was important, and how we think it contributes to the overall anthology. We're gonna have a good time, y'all. So make sure you guys tune into that. Like I said, 12 Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. And it's it's going down, y'all. It's going down. It's going down. Um, and we'll let you guys know where to purchase the book and stuff like that. We've been blowing up social media with this release, y'all. So make sure keep your eyes and your ears on the make sure you keep your eyes open and your ears on the ground for that because yeah, this this book is gonna be I strongly feel this book is gonna be something that's gonna be life changing and transformational to whomever picks this up, whether it's a parent or whether it's a child. I think that everybody can benefit from reading a story or two from this book. So make sure you guys tune in with that, man. I am I'm gonna say this. I am proud to be. I am very honored to be a part of this anthology with Dr. Joe, and especially in knowing the visionary Miss Jackson and getting to know all the contributing authors. Man, it is an honor for me to do this to be a part of this and I feel very accomplished in this because this is something. This is I'll just put it like this. For me, this is it's a story that I hadn't told, and now that it's out there, a lot of people can benefit from it, especially and a lot of people can benefit from Dr. Joe's story as well because yeah, raising children was not easy, but it is so worth it.
Yes.
It is so worth it to see them grow, to see them flourish, to see them thrive. It I get misty eyed when I talk about that because I think of my own children.
Mm-hmm.
To see my daughter happily married. To see to know that my middle child, is a father himself, and then to know that my youngest child is thriving. Despite the obstacles that he faces. So it means a lot. It means a lot as a parent to know that your children thrive. But I feel good about this, man. I really do, and I know Dr. Joe feels good about her contribution to it as well. So we gonna have a party tomorrow, y'all. So y'all make sure y'all tune in and join us with the confetti and all the party favors. but that's going to end this particular episode of the Author's Alley. Yo, I like to think. I love to think about. I won't say like to think. I love to think my beautiful guest, Miss Josephine Harris, Dr. Joe Harris. Make sure you guys find her on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Check out her blog. Also check out her website, man. And also when you guys pick up this book on Amazon, take a read to her story. I strongly believe you're gonna like. I strongly believe that you're gonna like it. I strongly believe you're gonna like it. So as we conclude this episode, I want to leave you guys with this particular thought. Just as the title of the book says, raising children isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it for several reasons. It's worth it because we get to shape and mold a human being from birth to growth, to being grown, and we still get to contribute into their life as much as possible. It's worth it because when we see our children flourish, we continue to flourish. When we see our children succeed, we succeed. And as we pass on from this plane, from this physical plane onto the spiritual plane, we know that our legacies and all the things that we leave behind on this planet will be greatly taken care of by our children, because they become the caretakers to our legacy. And when they become the caretakers to our legacy, that ensures that our legacy is secured. That's my thought. Love you guys so very much. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Critical Conversations. My sis LSG is in the house. My Life Has Destiny is always on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm coming at you guys with another check-in episode. You guys are gonna love it. And then next Friday, we're gonna have another contributing author to this great anthology. And yeah, we're gonna have another party. So I love you guys with the love of God. There's nothing you can do about that. And the three things I always like to say when I end these episodes, man: number one, be kind to each other. Number two, take care of each other. Number three, last but not least, we all know that this is a very crazy and unpredictable world out here. So above all, please, y'all be safe out there, man. I love y'all. Y'all be good. Y'all do what y'all be good. Y'all hang. Y'all do what y'all do. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm gonna take y'all home with this song called "It's the Way" by Mookstar Dash with Kevin Stewart. You guys, love you. Have a great day. Have a great night. Love you.
You know that I'm changing, know that I'm changing. No more ways. New doors are open. I'm no longer broken. Strategy tight, I'm living my life. Oh yeah. I paid my tithe. New blessings on my life. New blessings on my life. Oh yeah. It's the way you keep blessing me. All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me. Check my bank account, all my bills paid. Doors keep opening, miracles raining all on me. I'm still alive, food on my table. God is good, you know He's able. It's the way you keep blessing me. It's the way. All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me. It's the way you keep blessing me. It's the way you keep. All I see is opportunity. You open doors that was hard to believe. I thank God you keep favor on me.
Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. Prove me now herewith, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open to you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing.
I know I've been changed. Things ain't the same since you came my way, yeah. You show me something different. You show me something new. You came and turned me around. I was lost, now I am found. Blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Windows of heaven, keep pouring out blessings. I don't know how, but you do it. My head keeps spinning when you do it. I can't find a reason, but you showing on this season. Yep, it's the way though. It's the way you do, yeah, yeah. It's the way though. You keep blessing me. It's the way you do. It's the way though. Yeah. It's the way though. You keep blessing me. It's the way you keep blessing me. It's the way you keep blessing me. All I see is opportunity.